Hello, you beautiful people. So, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys, especially my fellow break enjoyers, are going to pull for the Dahlia in the next patch, and even if you aren't pulling for her, you're probably just saving for patch 4.0 with the new region's release and its new characters, right? Well, to pull all these characters, you'll obviously need a lot of Stellar Jades, and luckily for you, you've managed to land on the perfect video to get the info on that. Today, I'm mainly going to talk about all the Stellar Jades that you can collect in the upcoming patch 3.8 of Honkai Star Rail. Along with this, I'll also go over all the different sources to get these Jades just to make it easier for you, and some additional rewards that you're going to receive in the next patch. Before we go on though, if you're planning to pull for any of the new characters, you might want to check out Lubar because on this site you can save up to a total of 25% on all your purchases. To give an example, I'll buy this 3280 Nyric Shard pack for $43, and this same pack costs me about $50 from the in-game shop. You can see that it's cheaper, right? For the top-up process, just enter your UID in this box and choose your respective server depending on your account. After waiting for a few minutes, I received my Jades with the double top-up bonus because it was my first purchase. If you use my link, which is in the description or the pinned comment though, you can get an extra 10% off on top of all the other discounts. Thanks to Lubar for sponsoring this video, and do make sure to check out their website. Anyways, with the sponsored segment done, I'm just going to mention the usual disclaimer that these calculations which I use throughout the video are based on a rough early estimate, and I can guarantee that you're going to get a little bit more Jades than the final amount. Yep, just keep that in the back of your mind while watching the video. With that being said, let's begin without wasting any more of your time or energy. Alright, first of all, let's talk about all the Jades that you can get from the recurring sources, yeah? So, to start off, if you complete all your dailies for 42 days without missing even a single day of logging in and doing them, they'll reward you with a massive total of 2,520 Jades. Honestly, I think most of you know that dailies are basically the easiest and the most reliable way to earn Stellar Jades, and HSR dailies are like super easy to complete, which is pretty damn nice. Moving on from the dailies, let's take a look at all the rewards that you can get from completing or at least attempting the endgame content. So currently, HSR has a total of 4 endgame modes, namely Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction, Apocalyptic Shadow, and Anomaly Arbitration. Out of these, we can already exclude the Anomaly Arbitration game mode because it doesn't offer any kind of Jades whatsoever, and it doesn't really belong in a Jade calculation video. Looking at the other 3 game modes though, if you complete their highest, or you can say the toughest available stage, they'll collectively reward you with a big total of 2,400 Jades. Now, I know some of my viewers are probably new to the game, and they don't have a very stable account which can clear all these endgame modes. Honestly, you don't need to worry about all that because I already took care of it, and here are the calculations for completing some of the lower floors of the endgame modes. Man, I'm such a nice and thoughtful person, right? Anyways, let's move on and talk about the Jades that you can acquire from the weekly DU or Currency Wars runs. Now, I know some of you are probably confused why I mention Currency Wars here along with the DU, right? Well, for the unaware people, starting from patch 3.7, the Currency Wars game mode and the DU will reset in alternative weeks. Basically, from this patch, you'll need to do a Currency Wars run in the first week to claim your weekly rewards, and in the next week, the DU will reset, and you'll need to complete a DU run instead of a CW run to get your rewards. Easy enough to understand, yeah? This cycle will pretty much continue the entire patch, so in the 3rd week you're back to doing a CW run, and in the 4th week, you're going to take a trip to the DU mines again. I won't lie, I didn't even know that this new rotation was a thing until yesterday, so I don't think I really have any rights to blame you for not knowing about it. Okay, so coming back to the Jades, if you complete all your weekly runs religiously, you'll get a total of 1,650 Jades for your effort. Now, I need to mention that if you haven't been playing HSR for a while, you're probably going to get a bit less than the amount that I just mentioned, and it's because these weekly rewards are directly based on your equilibrium level. So, for example, if your account's equilibrium level is at 4, you're only going to get around 990 Jades and so on. Again, just because I'm really nice, here are the reward calculations for each single equilibrium level, and you can include it in the final calculations if you want. Next up, patch 3.8 isn't going to be one of those blessed patches which get a total of 2 monthly shop resets, and we're only going to see a single shop reset during the entirety of this patch. From this reset though, you can easily redeem a total of 5 limited tickets, or you can alternatively say 800 Jades because technically, it is a Jade calculation video after all. Alright, with that, we're done talking about all the rewards you can get from the recurring sources in the next patch. Continuing on, let's talk about some fun stuff and take a look at all the rewards that you can get from the limited time events and all that. So, in patch 3.8, we're going to see a total of 3 limited time events, but before you get excited, we're technically only getting 2 events, and I'm just sneakily including the Gift of Odyssey thing in the limited events as well, which brings the total up to 3. Honestly though, I don't really consider it a proper event, but for now, I just included it along with the other events just to make things simpler. So, in total, if you complete all the 3 limited time events in the patch, you're going to get rewarded with a massive total of 1,500 jades and 10 limited tickets. Or you can instead say 3,100 jades because it just sounds better, and as I said before, this is technically a jade calculation video. Moving on, some of you might remember the devs saying that in patch 3.8, we're going to go back to Penacony and get some story expansion there. Now, this easily just tells us that we'll be getting a new Trailblaze quest in the next patch, and thanks to the sources, we already know that there will be some new areas as well. So, if you entirely complete this new Penacony quest along with exploring the new areas and collecting all the chests, well, doing that will reward you with around 1,400 jades in total. Honestly, at first when it was announced, I wasn't really that hyped about this Penacony expansion, but right now, I won't lie, I'm actually pretty excited for this quest, because we'll get to meet a lot of the Penacony cast again, and personally, I'm not really a fan of how they ended Penacony and its last quest, so I'm just hoping they'll improve on that aspect. Aside from the quests though, we're going to get exactly 600 jades from the server maintenance for patch 3.8, which happens whenever a new version is released, and another 300 jades from the patch 4.0 livestream as well. By the way, if you're curious about everything we'll see in the next patch, and in patch 4.0 like the banners, special program, its release date, and all that stuff, I'm going to make a video on that soon, so keep an eye out for it. Lastly, adding up the rewards from the miscellaneous and somewhat tedious stuff like character trials, banner codes, and achievements, we get a small total of 335 jades. Finally, let me add up all the Stellar Jades that I mentioned throughout the video from all these different sources. By the way, don't think you're sneaky because I know some of you skipped right onto this part of the video, so I just caught you red-handed. Anyways, by adding up everything, we get a pretty big total of 13,105 jades, or you can alternatively say 82 limited tickets. By the way, let me just remind this is only the total F2P players, and if you're someone who does spend a little bit and buys the Express Pass, well then, the total amount of jades that you can get in the next patch suddenly sees a massive increase to 17,485 Stellar Jades, or 109 limited tickets. Anyways, with that, I'm done for today, and I think now you know how many jades you can collect in the next patch, yep? Do let me know in the comments if you're pulling for anyone in the next patch, or are you just saving for future characters? Also, I didn't mention it before as it gets annoying, but if you liked the video, then do consider subscribing. With that being said, I love y'all and I will see in you another one.